guys, I am about to go live. I'm just give everybody a second to get in here while I get set up. I know y'all can see my screen, so let me just go ahead and open my application. Hopefully this will work. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up Adobe Audition. All right, so first things first tonight, this is a special Sunday night edition of the training. I will be going over complete detail of basically how you would edit any audio that you get for your podcast. So I'll be going from the beginning to the end. So tonight, I'm going to call this basic live audio editing. So we're going to go over your basic cut and paste. We're going to go over the importance of proper titles, how to remove background noise, things like air conditionings, or I don't know if you got a humming refrigerator. You never know when you are recording at home, anything can happen in the background. Next, I'm going to show you guys a quick tutorial on how you can remove sirens from behind the scenes of your audio. Creating a multi-track mix down, which is a very, very important thing. I'm not sure if you can use that in Audacity, but it is definitely something you can use in Audition. So I'm going to show you guys how to use a multi-track mix down, how to make you a template where every time you open up, you can basically drop your audio in there and keep it moving. Okay? And then we're going to, of course, go over your export settings and how to create an audio bed, which is my favorite thing. All these things I'm going to be teaching you guys tonight is so that at least when you first start your podcast, this is going to be a new skill that you basically can add to your roster. You can say, I am now officially an audio editor, or I can be a podcast producer, or I am a podcast editor, whatever the case may be. This right here is the beginning and the basis of that training. So get your notepads ready. If you already have Audition, or you are signing up for the 7-day free trial, just so you can do this. Um, actual whole like Adobe setup, and it basically comes with all the apps. It comes with Photoshop, Premiere Pro, After Effects, Audition, Encoder, all that. Illustrator. It comes with over 30 apps, which are all useful for me, and it costs me about $45 a month, but that's because I use them all. But you can sign up for Audition only for about 19 to $20 a month, depending. If you're a college student, you can get it even for cheaper. If you are a teacher or professor at a college or whatever the case may be, you can also get that cheaper. But in the end, it is totally worth it. If you could find some way to make $20 in affiliates, or $20 from just mass marketing your podcast, is basically ends up being free because you found a way to do it. This is so weird recording this without looking at y'all, but I mean, I guess I've been on the radio before, so I know what it means to talk to nobody. So anyway, this is how it would look if you had it. You go ahead and open it up. I usually keep the popular ones I use right here at the bottom of my screen. I'm hoping you guys can see everything. So you see I have Audition here and I have my Premiere Pro here. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you guys tonight is how people with audio podcasts can basically take this audio and rip the audio from their video and then put it right into Adobe Audition and rip it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to do that first, because a lot of people find video, making video with your podcast to be very entertaining. So I'm gonna go through that process first. Real basic and simple. So, like I've said before, you definitely want to get a hard drive. This right here is my hard drive. This is where I keep all my files, and I have everything separated in different folders. As you can see, I have folders for my podcast here, my one of my clients where I do her video and stuff for her social media, my own folders here, and then stuff I worked on with other people. As you can see, everything I've done for other people, videos, audios, whatever the case may be. So tonight's all my videos that we're gonna use tonight is in my folder. How I basically just take the audio from this. A lot of people don't know that you can actually drop a video right into Adobe Audition and completely ignore that the visual part exists and just rip the audio part. So we're gonna go over that first. I'm gonna check that off my list. Check. And so here is a sample of a video podcast. We actually recorded this. This was actually our last episode that we re-recorded in person in a studio, and it got recorded. And the audio producer, he would not. I really like to separate and just have my audio separate from my video, because when you are recording audio, it sounds a little bit better than the audio that's on a video. It just does to me, because I can hear the difference. Because when you're doing a live video and you're recording audio over a live video, those audio packets are transmitted just slightly different than they are if they were recorded natively. So he just did not give me a separate audio recording. I ain't gonna bid about it, but so I had to rip my audio from a recording and basically make my podcast episode out of that. So I'm gonna show you guys. So here's my video. I'm just going to take it and drag and drop it. Click on it, drag it here. You see that green plus sign shows up, and I'm going to let it go. Little watch shows up. Go ahead and close that out. This little box shows up that says video, but we don't care about video. We only care about audio. So I'll go ahead and X out of that. Waiting for this, because this was actually like 45-minute video. So this is basically is reading it. So you wait for that whole little pie right there to fill up before you realize, bam, it is done. Okay, so double click this. There is my audio. I'm gonna go ahead and maximize this. So it's better for me to maximize it for you guys to see this while we are doing a screen share. So this is all the audio. And so if I wanted to, and I just thought everything we said was perfect, and I don't want to edit, bam, here's my MP3. All I would do is go File, Export. Now this part is important, okay? This is not like saving a picture platform. You want to hit export. So again, when it comes to things in Adobe, like Adobe Audition, Adobe Photoshop, and Adobe Premiere Doc, this is nothing like that. Proper location, okay? If you've been on a computer for a long time, you should understand how this works. You want to make sure things are in proper file formats. I'm naming this, and then I would choose my folder. I'm going to my hard drive, putting this in audio training, bam, and I would hit save. You would hit save, and bam, you will have name this something, your title. This is where it's located on my hard drive. That's called Prenadine, and then in the folder, and then what format? MP3. You always want your formats to be in MP3. When you record stuff through Zoom, or if you get some sort of professional microphone, or whatever the case may be, majority of the time when you record, it is initially going to be in WAV file. So you might ask yourself, Caprina, what is the difference between WAV files and MP3 files? Well, WAV files are files that you are edit. WAV files are what they call when something is edit, when you're editable. You just edit those. It's the highest quality, and that's where you edit it. But once you export a file and you want to put that audio on a podcast platform so that it can have a RSS feed, you want to make sure you export that into an MP3. MP3 is audio format, not the same as MP4, which is a video format. Again, these things right here, I always keep them basic. You want to do 44,100 hertz. Mono, it's always good to have all your audio tracks on mono. Mono means one single track and not a double track, but just one single track. So, like if you had 3 or 4 people speaking, each person would be on a different track and not all combined and bunched up on one individual track. Again, this is why I wanted this podcast episode in particular. I wanted the files and not just ripping audio from a video, because that's not how I work. So, this is my format, sample type, format settings always stay the same. And you can include markers and other metadata if you want to, but you don't have to. And then you would just hit OK. Once you hit OK, your stuff is done. You are ready to upload it to any of your podcast formats or podcast platforms. But if you're like me and you like to edit and you want to add music and you want to take out coughs and you want to take out background noise and you want to take out air conditioning noise and maybe the police drove by and you want to take out sirens, that is not what you're going to do. You want to listen to the audio, scrub through it, see what the issues are. Maybe you said something and you're like, I don't want to say that now, and you want to take it out. So the first thing I want to show you guys is a basic and simple cut and paste. That is it, you guys. Cut and paste. Audio editing is 90% cut and paste. It is rare that you're going to have some issues with background noise, especially if you're recording in a booth or you record in a closet like I told you to. But it is rare that you're going to have police sirens, unless you just really stay in the hood, and ain't nothing wrong with that, because I live in the hood too, and we be having no sirens. Maybe you have somebody in the hallway with some screaming kids, whatever the case may be. Sometimes if you do hear a noise that's super loud in the background, you can just become completely silent, let the noise go by, and then during your editing process, you can also cut it out like that and make it real simple. So again, at the end of the day, editing audio for podcasts is 90% cut and paste. If you know how to cut and paste, you know how to edit audio. You just thought it was complicated, and it's not. And I'm about to show you how simple it is. So this is my track that I ripped, and we're going to use this track right now for samples. So right here, I'm going to show you guys how to really look at the audio. So you see it's moving like this, and you guys are like, how are you moving like this? There's a million ways to move like this. Right now, I am moving this audio track in and out because I am doing a in and out finger motion on my trackpad on my laptop. If you guys know how to zoom in and out on screens on your laptop, then you know what I'm talking about. If not, there is a gray part. I hope you guys can see it right here at the top. I'm going to keep on trying to move my mouse, but look up here at the top. You see how it looks just like this audio track? There is a gray bar here that you can move back and forth, or you can move this down. This helps you zoom it all the way out where it's crunched together, or zoom it all the way down to the second. Now, this is important. The part I'm about to tell you right now is really important. If you are taking notes, you want to write this down. Every time you adjust this bar at the top, it adjusts the times and the seconds up here. Okay? It is very important to know your time when it comes to editing audio. It's just smart to know it. So if I'm editing all through here and I don't want to keep on cutting, I just listen through the whole thing. And let's say I know I want to cut at 1 minute and 30 seconds to 1 minute and 39 seconds. So I would stop, I would literally scrub into this timer right here at the bottom, all the way till it get to 139. I know that's where I want to cut it. Let's say 140. And I hold my mouse down on this red line. You see the red line? This is kind of like, look at this as your pencil. Look at this as your slicer and dicer. This is how you make marks before you actually cut, before you actually paste. Wherever this red line is, that's where you're going to start, that's where you're going to end. So let me go ahead and give you guys an example. I got the red line here. We see it's at 1 minute and 40 seconds. We're going to hold down and I'm going to slide it. Let's say I don't want that. All right here. So from 134 to 140 is basically I got that selected. But maybe I want to look closer into this sound bite and I can't really see it. So I'll go up here at the top. You see how y'all see that? See how it popped up as a little magnifying glass? That little magnifying glass tells me that I can zoom in on this piece. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull it close as possible, and zoom all the way in on this piece. I'm gonna just pull both ends all the way in. And you can see, again, this is also something you can play around if you really want to see this. So I'm using this. I done showed you two ways. I could do it with my mouse, and I could do it with the bar up here. But guess what, y'all? I'm about to show you a third way. You can also do it down here with the plus and minus, and it actually shows you the little arrows. So even if you don't know how to use your trackpad properly, which y'all, I'm being serious, is very common because every laptop is different when it comes to how the mouse works. So sometimes people don't really understand that. And then some people, if you can't really see that good, maybe you can't see this adjuster at the top. But what you always will be able to see is this right here. And whenever I hover over this, I can actually bring it up and really look at it. Move it down, move it up. You can move all these panels. That's the best thing about Adobe Audition. These little lines mean you can move it. Close the panel, open it, whatever. Again, this helped me zoom in all the way in. See, I can get down to the millisecond. You see, this says 1 minute, 36.5 seconds, and this says 1 minute, 37.0. That's literally not even 1 second between here. This is half of a second between here. And if you wanted to cut audio off for half a second, it literally will completely disappear and you won't even know that you cut it. That's the beauty about this, being able to zoom all the way in and zoom all the way out. And a lot of people don't realize that the more you zoom in, I'm talking, y'all, this not even a second no more. This a milli of a second. And let's say I cut this little piece off, that literally can be just the or the of an A, and I could literally zoom all the way in and cut it off. But let's say I want to zoom back all the way in. You can make it the long way. You can make it the short way. Let's go ahead, see how it's moving. So that's what all this does. And if you just want to get it back to normal, you just hit these and it can make it go right back to normal. All right, so let me go on to your simple cut and paste. That's what we need to go over first. Simple cut and paste. So let's first, you're always going to listen to the audio first. Can you hear it?
How y'all doing? Ashley Ray's here.
Okay, so.
Hey y'all, I'm April. How y'all doing? Ashley Ray's here.
Okay, so for example, right here, it really was just kind of like a smacking noise in the background. So I will start in the beginning, cut here, go all the way here. This whole thing. And now that I selected it, see selected, beginning, end, I zoomed out so I could see it good. My little pin or adapter is right here in the front. And when I hit play, it's going to let me hear this audio and it's going to stop right there. So I don't need that. That's not needed in my podcast. So there's two things you can do. One thing you can do is turn it all the way down decibels. Again, I try to tell y'all it's a million ways to skin a cat, or that's not a good analogy, but it's a million ways to do one thing. So one way to do this is you can go here to this decibel because sound levels is in decibels, 1 decibel, 2 decibels. You probably heard it referenced in a movie before. So what you can do is hover over this, see how it says adjust amplitude, and if you move it to the left, bam, completely clear line. If you move it to the right, you could turn it all the way up. But we want it to be completely gone. That's no problem. It's telling you that when you rip the audio from a video, which we initially did, it's going to create a brand new track, and that's fine. So I hit OK. So now you see when I hit play now,
Ash.
completely silent right there. Completely silent. It's just, you don't hear nothing. So let's undo this. Again, don't be afraid to do anything in Adobe Audition because whatever you do, you guys, it can always be undone. The undo button works for everything. I promise you it do. It works for everything. So hit undo, amplify. Now we got that little audio there again. So another way to do this is to click on the space, right click, and this whole menu pops up. This whole menu pops up. You can just hit silent. Okay. Now it's silent. I didn't taught you two ways how to remove some audio. And when you remove it these two ways, you keep your timer on track. Well, who wants all those empty spaces? Who wants to wait for all those silent moments when you can just delete them? So let me show you a third way. Let's go ahead and undo the silence. The third way is already selected. I'm hitting delete on my keyboard. Completely gone. Now listen.
April, how y'all doing? Ashley Ray's here.
You don't hear no breathing. You don't hear no smacking. You don't hear nothing. So undo because I got one more way to show you. Now I done showed you with the decibel. I done showed you right click in silence. I done showed you just to hit delete on your keyboard. Now another way to do it. You want to also hit right click again and you can just cut it from there. So there's 4 different ways you can do it. You can cut it from the right menu. You can silence it from the right menu. You can delete it from your keyboard, or you can just make it silent with the decibels right here. That's 4 ways you can do that. And you guys just watch me. Now, I'm going to go ahead and move on. Everything is a simple cut and paste. Me showing you that proves that you can do that to any part of the podcast that you don't want to hear. One more example of a cut and paste.
A long time.
A long time.
Okay, I didn't like that. Let's just say I didn't like that. I said a long time, and somebody else said a long time. I don't want to hear all that. So I'm going to select the beginning to the end. Listen.
A long time.
A long time.
Yes.
And that whole laughing. And then I didn't start talking to here. 1:49. Pay attention to the time. Y'all ready for this trick? I'm about to hit the letter M. Bam. The letter M just gave me a marker. So I know exactly where it is now. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Right here. Put another M. Look over here to your far left. You got your marker 1, marker 2. So I know that this audio that I don't want is between marker 1 and marker 2.
A long time.
A long time.
Yes.
So I'm going to click on here while I am holding down on the left click on the left side of your trackpad, whatever you're using. Hold down and select it all. Now it's selected. I can hit all those options I just told you, make it silent, hit delete, turn it down, or cut it. And what I do when I'm editing my podcast, I just select the parts I want, hit delete.
I've known him. All right. And so tonight's hope.
See, now you don't hear us saying a long time. I'm going to play that one more time.
I've known him. All right. And so tonight's.
See, the line was, I've known him a long time. And he was like, a long time. But instead, it just completely skipped over it. You don't hear a little jumper. You don't hear nothing. It's completely gone. It's like it never happened. So again, before I move on to the next level of stuff, editing audio is a simple cut and paste, y'all. Literally a simple cut and paste. So now we are going to move on. I showed y'all the cut and paste. Y'all already know about proper titles. Again, if that's all I had to do with this podcast, guess what? I'm done. I go to file, I go to export file, pop it open, name it properly, put it in a proper location, and I'm done. So we're gonna still mess with this track a little bit so I can show you guys the next thing. I'm checking off my list. I'm using a paper and pencil, y'all. I'm old school. So we did cut and paste, we did proper titles. Now I'm about to show y'all how to remove some background noise. And when you edit a lot of audio sometimes, you start to see patterns that look alike. And you know, if it looks alike, it sounds alike. And if you guys are looking at the screen right now, and if you're looking at what I'm looking at, maybe your eye is not trained like me, but if you're looking at what I'm looking at, you can see some things that look very similar. And now I'm about to point them out for you. This, 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 all this stuff. This, turn your phone sideways and see it the long way if you can't see what I'm doing. All this stuff look exactly alike. Now let me prove to you. That was a breathing.
So
breathing, 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 breathing. They all look alike. That proves to you that they all sound alike. So what I'm going to do is I know that this is breathing, and I'm just going to delete it. Now listen.
So we talk about.
See? No breathing. Now sometimes you can keep the breathing in there if you want to, just because you want it to sound natural. So instead of completely deleting it, you can just turn it down. Just turn it down.
To dating here from date.
See? Still sounds good, but it still sounds like it's in a natural environment because, we are humans. So I guess, we got to breathe. So you definitely want to breathe. So next up, we're going to go ahead and remove some background noise. Show you how to remove some background noise. I don't what? I got a file for that. We're going to use my background noise file. Import. So I have an audio of this guy. It was from a client I was editing about a year ago. And they did all these interviews in Atlanta. And while they was doing the interviews in the car, and they was recording in a car. And that was the moment I was like, y'all expect me to remove these car sounds, the wind blowing, birds chirping, all this stuff. Y'all want me to remove this from the background? Like, I'm going to have to charge y'all for that, So, show you guys an example of this audio. Again, You can always add more tracks right here. You just right click and import, or file and open, or again, you could do the drag and drop method. Again, it's always more than one way to do stuff, you guys. Always. But I do this so much, I'm to the point where I just right click and import, and it pops open right into my hard drive. So I'm gonna show y'all how much background noise is on this.
Who's up? I want to see who's up.
See, you got background noise and her talking low.
Adam Beers.
Adam Beers. Gelato. Can you see that?
Oh,
that's the first time I came up in here.
You can see it. Look, she all, I love gelato. Like, y'all, I really had to edit all this audio. But this is what I call dirty audio. If you look in these colors, you see how thick it is? That's because it's the regular audio added on top of this background noise. It's so much background noise that is making this what I call fat audio. You don't want fat audio. You want clean audio. Okay? Clean audio. Listen to this.
Do that little thing.
See?
What is that?
I don't even know why they was talking, but then
we got a couple of pieces in there.
I hear that? Like, listen to that. Look at that. When I stretch it out, you can really.
The part that they're using for the extension.
And again, this can be your first time ever looking at audio waves, so you're probably like, "What is she talking about?" But you can just look at it and see. Like, I'm stretching it out, and I'm looking at the patterns, and like even these patterns don't line up perfectly. You know, both of these has two peaks, but it's not even lining up because this is the background at the bottom and this is them talking at the top. So it's really making it for some dirty audio. I mean, at some points, she's even talking at the same level as it. So I'm gonna show y'all.
Well,
newly
built.
people, older black people.
Well, yeah,
The point you're making is that it's so convenient to everything.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Look, that one's newly renovated.
So this is the important part. When it comes to removing background noise, the proper way to do it is to make sure before you start recording, you hit record and you do not say anything for 10 seconds. I've said this before, I believe. Maybe I did, maybe I did. But anytime you start recording, you just want to sit in complete silence. When you sit in complete silence, and they do this in movies too, you are giving the audio recorder a chance to pick up anything and everything in the background. When you can pick up anything and everything in the background, it makes it easier for the audio recorder to distinguish the difference between what's in the background and who's actually talking. That way, when it comes to creating a noise print, which is what it's called, or you can think of it as a noise copy, or maybe just a noise identifier, it makes it easy because if I know what the background sounds like, and I know the background sound is on a certain level, then I can remove that background sound from the whole thing. So I already edited this audio over a year ago. I don't even remember how I did it, but your girl figured it out. So what we did here, we're gonna go to the beginning, and because all you need is at least 10 seconds. Let's play this. So I'm selecting the beginning. You're supposed to have at least 10 seconds. Sometimes I'll be trying to, see if I can play the system.
Then I put it in the oven and crisp it.
See, she talking too much. She talking about all this stuff she crisping.
Oh,
and he likes it crispy. Okay, now we're not just okay. You don't have to do a lot of this, but
oh no, I can do 2 or 3 streets and show you.
Yeah. Just say, you're showing me how things have changed.
So, I'm sorry, y'all. I laughed so much at this interview. So let me find a good part. And it's so hard because This part you would think is her talking, and then like the low audio you would think would be like the background noise, but it's not. That what makes it so hard. So let me.
Thing,
What is that going?
planting trees.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the only time they didn't talk. You see how I zoomed that in? It's the only time they didn't talk. Then you got that ticking noise. So let's see. So let's say let's pretend this is background noise of an air conditioner. And I select it because I hear it. And you want to go to effects, noise reduction, and restoration. Capture the noise print. Okay. Then you want to go back to effects after you have captured the noise print. And then you want to go to noise reduction process. And sometimes I mess around with this, and you can do it too. I'm not going to do it here because most of the time you don't really have to mess around with this, but you can if you can hear a difference or if it's really, really bad. You can just mess around with this and try to basically, this is your threshold and this is that background. The closer this green is to the red, the better. Because you see it says red is low. That's your noise floor. And yellow not even on here because it's not really a high pitch on this level. It's only a low and then it's your threshold. So if I wanted to, I could bring it down a little bit. Oh, there go my yellow. So it's like my threshold and my high pitch is pretty much the same. So I can listen.
You know, it's interesting. It's like I have never had a presence in.
So what I'm gonna do is move this out the way. This is completely selected. I'm gonna just hit apply, just so y'all can see it. Do y'all see that? I know y'all see that. I hit apply, and it made that background completely gone. So let's hit an undo. That's how I know I properly took it out. So this is what we're gonna do. After I got my little 4 5 seconds of background noise because they talk too much and nobody taught them the proper way to record audio because they didn't give me no 10 seconds to work with. I found 4 seconds, I found 2 seconds. So what you want to do is after you select it, I'm gonna do it one more time. After you select it, you go to effects, noise reduction, capture that noise print. Then you want to select the whole track. Select the whole track. That is very important, y'all. The first few times I did this, I kept on forgetting to select the whole track. And I was mad at life. And I don't want y'all to be mad at life. Go to effects, noise reduction restoration, noise reduction process. Hit apply. It's going to wait for that turn, wait till that do it. Watch how this track look, y'all. Watch. Just watch. Y'all gonna see. Now the only thing that you can come across sometimes when removing background sound is echo issues. But it's very rare that it happens. It only happens in situations where you were talking probably at the same level as the background sound. And that's highly unlikely. That's why I'm telling you now and I'm training you now because you already know that you're going to be, you know. Now, y'all see this audio now? Remember how fat it was? All the way through and through, it was fat. Now it look like a skinny old tree. Like, where is the meat? It needs something to eat. You now look like, you know what I'm saying? Look like a wet cat. It ain't no fat audio no more. Now watch you play. Y'all hear that?
You know, it's interesting. It's like I have never had a presence in.
You absolutely don't hear none of her background noise. It completely silenced them out.
Y'all looking more over there.
And see, like this one was the issue because their background noise was as high as they were speaking. So that's why this one,
But you're using
Uber, yeah, we'll get a Uber.
yeah, we'll play.
that's why that one sound horrible because you couldn't distinguish the background. So this made a background noise for this, but the big part, it was horrible. So this is an example just with very, 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 very horrible audio. But I promise you, if you're recording in your house, or you're recording at a studio, or you're recording with anybody, um, you won't ever have this issue. The only issues you need to worry about is having an air conditioner on, refrigerator humming, or I don't know, a cat meow in the background. But you guys see right here, it completely moved
Planting trees.
the background sound away. So that's that, basic and simple. So let me move on to the next thing. Check this off my list. All you need to know is anytime you want to try to remove background noise, even if you want to just do it between sections, whatever you select after you have made a noise print, whatever you select, you can remove the background sound from that portion. When I originally edited this audio, I had to go through each section and individually edit the noise print because it's so horrible. This is why it's very important to know how to properly record audio, speak at the right levels, and try your best to not have background sounds. This is how people record in studios and not record on the highway with the windows down, which is what they was doing in this recording. So I gave you guys an example of a very, very bad audio, something you guys will never have to deal with. But if you do have to deal with just the air conditioning, you can see right here, ain't no air conditioning sound. It's completely silent.
How is Andy?
I mean,
Oh, Andrew's old and frail.
you can literally hear her talking and you don't even know where they at. So let's move on. Next is going to be how to remove a siren from the back of your audio. Now this one, y'all, is the kicker, okay? I'm gonna try to speed it up a little bit, but this is the kicker. This is how you remove background sound. Now, I couldn't really find a track that had the siren in the background, so I had to make my own, okay? I took audio from one of my podcasts, 15-second audio from one of my podcasts, and I took a siren sound from a sound effects website that I dropped in a group before, and I took a siren, I just smashed them together, and I made one file. So now, I'm gonna show you guys this file, let you guys listen
like you
to
said,
it.
like our first kiss and things like that. Like it was actually kind of weird because not because of me or her, but because the show that we were watching a TV show, and I was just about to move in for the kiss, and then somebody on the TV.
All right, so y'all heard that siren. We know it's up in
show
here.
That we were watching.
Basically, the siren is up in here.
We were watching a TV show, and I was just about to move in
So
for the
we're
kiss.
gonna zoom in to only this section.
Really
okay, we're gonna zoom in all the way in just to that section because we know our siren is here somewhere. Don't matter how much you zoom in, y'all, you can't see it.
We're watching.
You cannot see it. So we know it started somewhere up in here. I'm gonna hit the letter M for my marker. And then the first step that you're going to do to remove the siren is up here in the left area. It is called the spectral frequency display. When you click on this, you got your fire popping up right here at the bottom. Now let me show you.
We're watching a TV show, and I was just about to move in for the kiss.
Can you take a while guess what the sirens is? These are the sirens, these lines. Because the sirens, the sound that they make is a consistent waveform. When I say consistent, if this was a 30-minute track of a siren going through it the whole time, that siren will consistently sound the same. It will go up and down and up and down. But you can't see that up here. But you can see it when you hit that spectral frequency display. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is pull that down so that you can see these tracks. And then you see this little circle that pop up. This circle allows you to erase it. It's basically an eraser. So We're going to erase this audio like this. I don't know who messaging me. And then if you let it go, you need to hold down the shift button to continue erasing. Because if you don't, you're going to make a mistake and it's going to move it out of place. So hit the shift button. And again, I'm doing this for live, so I'm moving kind of quick. But I'm going to just show you. Oh, I'm going to just show you your open bracket will make that circle smaller. And let's see. And you can, oh, wait a minute, what I'm doing. Oh. Plus, see, the open bracket make it smaller, or I can make this circle bigger in the beginning. See how big I can make it? And that is me open up the open bracket, the brackets. That's right in the top right corner of your keyboard next to the P, open and the close bracket. So if you hit that left bracket, it make it smaller. So I'm gonna just keep it small, and then I'm gonna erase all this. I'm trying to move faster, y'all, so y'all can understand. So what I'm gonna do, just for the purpose of this, I'm going to erase all these lines from right here. Or maybe do a little line up in here. This is the part where I say, if somebody got audio with a whole lot of sirens in it, charge them more. They're going to have to give up a little bit more. And you kind of have to guess the rest of the lines, right? So we see how the waveform move. And I don't know why, but I kind of know that the line is right here. And I'm deleting it. I'm just trying to erase it. And I know some of you guys are like, dang, where did that come from? What happened? Well, I did this. I was doing this before I got on with you guys. But you basically hit that paintbrush. So after you hit that spectral frequency display, you hit this paintbrush. And right now, basically you want to look at it like we are painting these lines away. We just trying to paint them out the dang on picture. Paint away. All right. So I'm just go ahead and you can see once you put all the white there, you can see the example. So once I'm done, I'm going to right click and I need to learn the sound model. So now this audio knows that the sound model of this waveform, this is how it sounds. So I'm going to go ahead and click over here. It's already, I done already covered it with the eraser, little paintbrush. I done already learned the sound model. So now I'm about to go to next. I'm going to go to the effects. I remember this one from my from what we did before. I'm going to go to effects and I'm going to go to noise reduction and restoration. And I'm going to go to sound remover process. See that? It's reading it. It's 100%. It's almost done. And I'm going to show y'all the difference. So basically you can look at this bottom part as like your preview set. It's showing you the after. This part is the before. This part is the after. And right now I done made so many lines, especially when I made that little big line in the middle. It's taking a little minute to erase it, but it's going through, it's trying to remember the sound model for this exact sound bite, and it's trying to remove as much as possible that it could from learning the sound model, and now we are erasing the model. So give it a second, you guys. And then after this, I'm going to go straight into a multi-track mix down and create an audio bed. All right, so what I'm going to do is just hit apply. There we go. And it move faster. Where them lines at, y'all? Where the lines at? Y'all don't see them lines. It's looking way cleaner. Now, it might not be perfect. I ain't promising y'all nothing. But let's see if I can hear the sirens. Let's see. This is the big part where the siren was. I'm going to turn it up. Do y'all hear anything? No, you don't. Now, what I'm going to tell y'all is do your best to avoid these sirens, y'all, because the sirens ain't no joke. Because, and technologically, I would have completely zoomed in on this audio and literally erased it line for line. That's why editing audio and editing video is a job that should be paid for highly when it comes to removing audio, because I'm about to show you why. Turn this down a little bit. When it comes to removing background sounds, and I don't want you guys to panic if this ever happened to you, you can always just undo it and try to redo it again, or just pay somebody to do it, or just record that part over. But it can get to a point where if you remove too much of the background, it could sound a little echoey. Echoey is always going to be a problem, but it's never a problem that can't be solved. See how it sounds echoey? So it sounds a little echoey. And that's mainly because, I was all over the place erasing stuff. I was erasing all up in here. So they pretty much did that every 3 seconds. They erased up in here because that was the sound model I gave them. So while I'm just erasing all the lines, it's like, oh, is this the model? So you can see how uniform it looks. They thinking this part was just like this part, and they end up erasing it. But you don't hear no sirens, y'all. But if you need to remove some sirens, it would definitely be easier than this, because I actually had to put these two tracks together to add a siren underneath for talking. So it's not really a natural background sound, but I'm showing you the steps to do it. So the steps, and I'll try to put these in the comments. The steps again for removing background sound is background siren is spectral frequency display. Hit the paintbrush, paint the lines, the waves lines. Click out over to the space, right click, learn sound model. After you learn the sound model, go to effects, go to noise reduction restoration, and then hit sound remover process. And that will give you that. So let's go ahead and move on, y'all, because I ain't want to be on here too long. It's 9:08. I'm going to probably be on here for 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes. The next stuff is super easy. Multi-track mixdown. Now, this is how you want to record your podcast every time. It's a multi-track mixdown. So I'm going to select all these, and then I'm going to just delete and say no to all. Now I'm back to a new thing. All right, we about to record our podcast. We didn't know all the cut and paste it on our audio, right? We already know what our music is. We got our intro and our outro. So now let me import all that stuff in here. My music, Glory Be, and Trapped. And I'm hitting on shift. Every time I click something, I hit on shift. So I'm only selecting the stuff I want. Glory Be, Trapped, and then I'm open, and then I need to find, just for the case of this, I'm gonna find a sample of some talking. We don't need that no more. We're gonna take that off. We're gonna need an example of us talking. So I'm gonna take it from here. I already created a bit, but I'm recreating it so you guys can see how you make it. So this is just a audio track of one of our old podcasts. So here we go. So I'm gonna just take the first 5 minutes of this. Again, this is for editing purposes. We're just gonna make a 3 minute podcast. So I'm just gonna cut this down to 3 minutes, just so you guys can see the difference. So I just made it a little 6 minute podcast. Okay, so this is my song in the beginning. This is my recording that I did my podcast, and this is my end song. Again, how you do your podcast is your prerogative. You can use the same music for the beginning and the end, and you can make your podcast anywhere from 5 minutes to 45 minutes. And if you have a recorded intro, you can just record an intro and add your music underneath it, exactly the same way that I'm showing you how to make the whole podcast. You can do the same process when making just your intro. So that's my music, that's my audio. Let's smash it together. First, you want to enter it into the waveform. I hit right click import. I imported these 3 tracks, beginning, middle, and end. I hit multi-track. As soon as you hit multi-track, this is going to pop open. Sample, music bed, 2. Now, of course, y'all name it wherever you want to. Make sure you browse it wherever you need to browse it to. Put it in the right folder. That's the most important part. Now, this part, you could do a template if you want to. Always do none. I just do none. This way you can edge it out however you want to. Hit OK. Now, here we're going to say, click on track, intro. Actual podcast is going here, and outro. And I know my host is in this group too, and they probably like, this all the shit you was doing? Tracks. This is all the stuff I will be doing, especially when it's individual. So this is my intro. All right, we're going to cut this intro down to like 10 seconds. Remember, I always say you don't want to make your intro more than 20 seconds. So I'm going to make this intro about 10. Again, I'm not listening to it because I already know how this stuff sounds. But of course, you want to listen to it. We're going to throw the audio. Again, this is drag and drop. I'm holding down on it, pressing down on the mouse, and I'm dragging it. See the plus? And I'm dragging it. See how it's moving all over the place? And I'm dragging it. That's what I'm doing. My outro music. Dragging it. Remember the little pull thing that we did on the thing? Here we go up here. Same thing exists over here. The only difference is this time we're dealing with 3 different audio tracks. I'm cutting this down to the part that I want. Again, this is just us making a 3-minute podcast. 3 minutes. Put my outro music here. Here. So we know that this is my audio track right here. Welcome back. When you hover over this line, this little red things pop up and you can basically cut. And it basically snaps in place with that line. So if I know you start talking here, we want the music to go down here. So you click on this yellow line, click on the end of it, and you move it down. You want that music to slowly fade out. Some people like their music to play the whole time. If you want your music to play the whole time, then this goes back to mouth. Your audio is at -6. Your music should be at a -1. Or you could put it at like a -2, -3. Anything that's half of the sound of you. You don't want the audio to overpower you. But for here, I only like my music in the beginning, and I want it to slowly fade out. Again, you can see how the music fades out, and you can hear when she started talking. Now listen.
Welcome back.
See that perfect fade? I know y'all like that. I know y'all do. It's okay. And you ain't got to tell. I know you like it. Now, if I wanted my music to play throughout the whole back, then I would have the whole track up here. And maybe I would have this volume up a little bit more. And it would go like this.
Welcome back. Welcome back. The wait is over. This is season 2, episode 1 of
But you see how these two audio things sound and look alike? Look at the song that I like when my beat drop. Or it's a goodbye.
So me and my friends know how to turn up and have a good time. I had an amazing summer. I had a whole lot of fun. I stayed probably a week.
Okay, so with this, randomly, but let's act like they said, all right, y'all, goodbye, we out.
Collectively at MGM.
Collectively at MGM. So here's where I want my music to go. But I want it this time, it needs to be coming in. Remember, this is the opposite of an intro. On the intro, it is at the level -6, and that goes down. Remember, negative numbers, when they go down in negative numbers, it's really the opposite. So -2, -3, -1, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. So I make it go down here, and while this is going down, you see this is going up. And I still can't hear it. We want to be able to hear this.
A week collectively at MGM.
Okay, so want to make our audio a little bit lower. And remember, wherever you put this pointer, you can make as many dots as you want on this line to make it trickle up however you want to do it. That's why you be seeing like audio tracks be all over the place. You can make it go up and down, however you want to make it go. And you can see this audio bite, it was just already low. So that's why it looked like this. Actually, let's make this the end. Got this razor blade, the pointer over here. Move this right here.
9 out of 2000, that was my era. So me and my friends know how.
So if that was ending, they would finish
My
saying,
era. So me and my friends know how.
then it would just fade in. So you guys get the picture. You have to play around with it so you can understand your exact volume, how you want to hear it. Usually, if you're talking after an outro, you want to make these line up. So when this is going down, that's when you want this to start going up. And again, you could click on these and actually hit delete. If you made too many dots, you're like, oh shoot, what did I do? You actually click on each one of these dots and just hit delete. Hit delete, and then it can all go back. Like, okay, boo, we understand you was doing too much. But you can see how this is going up. I can stretch it out, and that's going down. And then so here's the
Taking over for the 9 out of 2000. That was my era. So me and my friends.
now you see how it. So you see how it perfectly faded out. That's how you want it to do. Now again, I didn't show you guys how you would make this stuff level. So that's going to be the last thing I show you what to do, and then we're going to export this, and that's basically going to be an example of how you do an audio bed. Now making an audio bed is basically just keeping the intro and keeping the outro on here and just saving it. So every time you open it up, it opens up and and you just replace the middle track, the podcast track. So let me go back to the music. Anytime you go back to the music, let's say when you in multi-track right here, top right corner, top left corner rather. let's just say in multi-track, like I looked at this and I'm like, okay, this is just too low. It's not loud enough. So I go back to my main track over here. You always want your stuff to waveform, and then we want to make this be -6. So when I say -6, this is what I'm talking about. And so what I meant was you want to make sure the numbers go up, or if it's a negative sound, a negative sign is actually going down. So if your audio is if you're speaking at a -6, you need your music to be at a -9 or a -12, somewhere low. That maximum volume, and then you want to go to effects, amplitude and compression, hard limiter, and just set this hard limiter at a -6 dB. All these are my presets, so every time I drop audio in here, it's always the same thing. You always want to do a hard limiter. I learned this at one of my internships a long time ago, and it has been the best thing I ever learned. Hit apply. Check this out. Check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Perfect, clean, even audio.
Episode 1
It's never gonna hit past. It's never gonna hit past that -6.
And Conversations podcast.
Whoa.
Hey, y'all.
Perfect. No clipping or nothing. So when I go back to my multi-track, all my stuff, you see, that ain't little no more. You see it? It's all perfectly even. Whatever you edited in waveform, you can edit over here. Now this is just up because I moved it up. That's the only reason why it's up. But, you know, you can always move it back down. So,
Summer,
now everything over here is perfect. Let's say I got my whole podcast together. Let's zoom this out. You can see your whole podcast. You got your intro here. That's y'all talking. You and your girls talking. Woo, woo, woo. That's your outro. Imagine that this is a full talk line. You see it's all even. Woo, woo. Clean audio. You can see your audio wave. You notice a music wave because music has consistent beats. Music comes in 8 beats or 16 bars, 8 bars. It comes like that. So that's why you know this is music. Consistent beat. Talking is not always consistent, but music beats are always consistent. See how they look alike? So you know those two are your music. You know this is your talking. You bring your music in the last 5 seconds before you leave out, and you bring your music in the first 10 seconds before you start talking. So now, the way you export this, you want to hit File, Export, not Save As, and not Save. Okay? You want to hit this as Export, Multi-Track Mixdown, Entire Session. The entire session. No longer 3 tracks, it's all about to become one. It is one. Okay? And then you go ahead and hit OK and it saved it. Now, if you just wanted to make this a music bed and you know, okay, all my podcasts are going to be the same length of time, then you know, you put your music the first 10 seconds. You post your end music the last 10 seconds. Let's just say this is a 6-minute podcast. So I know that's the beginning, that's the end. That is when you use Save As. So I will hit Save As. You see the extension is SESX. And then you say sound bed for my podcast. Right? Whatever. You know where you save it at in your browser. And you know the form is audition session. Of course you want an audition session. That's your only option. 44-100. Stereo, 16 bits, okay. right? And it's gonna create a whole nother folder for it. That's why it's saying it's creating a whole nother folder for it. So I'm gonna hit yes and yes, whatever they talking about. Now I just made a bed. So every time I hit my recording, every time I record my podcast, all I gotta do is come to my hard drive. Okay, X out of all this now, cause y'all get the picture now. It's cutting and pasting. It's save as. If I want to save it as a template, templates mean you can come back to it and it's always gonna look the same. Or you can save it. You can export it to be uploaded to a podcast platform. So, last but not least, I'm about to show y'all exactly how it looks. Audio training. Sound Z-bed for my podcast. This is the imported files, meaning those are the files, the two songs, the intro and outro song that's in here. These two have to stay together. And then this, as soon as I pop that open, watch how it looks. Every time I make my podcast now, I got my audio track. All I gotta do, pop open my template, bam. Music in the right spot, outro in the right spot, and all I gotta do is come to waveform, input here, find my audio that I recorded and put on my computer, import it here, and bam, we out. Drop it right here where it says podcast, because I typed that there. Remember, you can type that there, and bam, I'm done. Podcast over with. Export, and it's out. It's over. It's done. So, that completes my full hour and 10 minutes tutorial on the different ways to edit audio, the basic ways to edit audio when it comes to editing your own podcast. And trust and believe, this is easy. You can watch this video, pause it, stop it, cross it, stop it, whatever. And this is exactly how you want to do things. Right now, we're just looking at my dashboard. Again, if you guys want to know the difference between an MP3 and a WAV, it's a matter of compressed or lossless format. Again, that is going to conclude my video. Again, I told y'all I can't really look at y'all. Oh, I can't look at y'all because they don't allow you to switch back to the the camera. But I just want to let you know, clearly we didn't have no views. I didn't waste my time though. Whatever. Y'all gonna watch this next time when y'all really want to learn how to audio, especially when somebody tell y'all they about to charge you $300. You'll be good to go. Anyway, that concludes my video. This is Audition, how to do it, all done in 1 hour. I taught you everything, how to cut and paste, how to create your proper titles, removing the background noise, removing siren noise, how to mess with the multi-track mixdown, how to export your stuff, and how to create an audio bed so that you could come back to the same intro and the same outro every time. All right, y'all, I'm done. I'm out.